Hi there.
Hey, Paul.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm all right.
Good. I know I want to move this blanket in the background. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay. Housekeeping complete. Okay. Kathy's here.
Hello,
Hi, John.
how are you?
Good. How are you?
Fabulous.
Fabulous. That's fabulous.
You woke up today, it's a fabulous day, right?
Yeah. I've been proofreading for the past couple of days, so my brain is not at its strongest.
I tell you, I probably the last 2 months have been probably the most stressful time of my life. The business I run, it was
Yeah.
sold
Oh, okay.
and it was official on the 23rd of November.
Yep.
And so I found out about it about 6 weeks prior, and the amount of work you got to get because it was sold to an investment firm. So I still run the business.
Oh my goodness.
Planning Commission meeting to order here in Fraser. First, I will read the notice we have. The Michigan Department of Health and Human Services issued an order on November 15, 2020 that prohibits indoor gatherings of 2 or more people from more than one household. And the Michigan Department of Labor and Economic Opportunity issued emergency rules on October 14, 2020 regarding remote work by employees when feasible. In addition, the City of Fraser has declared a local state of emergency due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic to ensure against violating the indoor gathering prohibition and in the interest of achieving the goal expressed in the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services order and the Michigan Department of Labor and Economic Opportunity rules to protect the public health, particularly during a local state of emergency. The Fraser Planning Commission will meet electronically today, December 2nd, 2020, in accordance with the Open Meetings Act as amended on October 16, 2020, using Zoom for video conferencing and public access. This notice is required to ensure that those wishing to observe and/or participate in the meeting have the opportunity to do so. The public can participate via the Zoom application, internet access via the Zoom website, and/or via telephone using the Zoom telephone number and meeting ID. The public will be able to hear Planning Commission members and will be permitted to speak for up to 5 minutes during the public participation portions of the agenda. Please note that callers and viewers will automatically be muted and must remain muted until called upon to speak by the chair. Written comments will be accepted prior to the date and time, no later than 4:30 p.m. on the day of the meeting by the building department at zoning@micityofFraser.com, which is the method by which members of the public may contact members of the public body to provide input or ask questions on any business that will come before the public body at the meeting. Public hearing comments will be heard during any public hearing that is conducted during the meeting, and other comments will be heard or reviewed during public participation. In the event of a change in the status of statewide or local states of emergency, the Planning Commission meeting may be changed from a remote meeting to a live in-person meeting to be held at Fraser City Hall, 33,000 Garfield Road, Fraser, Michigan 48026 on the same date and at the same time. The city will post notice of any change in method of conducting the meeting from a remote meeting to an in-person live meeting and/or any change in the meeting place for this meeting to the city's website at www.ci.fraser.mi.us. Interested parties should periodically check for such changes or contact the city clerk's office at 586-293-3100. The City of Fraser and the Planning Commission thank all of you for your understanding and support as we all attempt to navigate these challenging times together. And if you all would join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
Allegiance to the
the
flag
flag of the United States of America
and to the republic
for
which
which
is
it
which
stands,
one
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 nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
indivisible, with liberty
and justice
for all. Thank you. We'll go to agenda item number 2, roll call. And I will remind the members, please, when you say you're present, to say from where you are remotely present. Ms. Traxler, can you do the roll call, please?
excuse me, I'm sorry. Chair Zarnecki,
I am present remotely from the City of Fraser.
Vice Chair Kyle,
I am present, City of Fraser, Michigan.
Commissioner Barr,
Present from the City of Fraser.
Commissioner Farina,
I am present from the City of Fraser.
Commissioner Warnick.
present remotely from the City of Fraser.
Great.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Traxler. Agenda item 3 is approval of the agenda. Are there any revisions to the agenda? Any discussion? And if not, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I will make a motion to approve the agenda for the meeting of December 2nd as printed.
And I'll support.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Kyle and support by Commissioner Warnick to approve the agenda as presented. All those, would you do a roll call, please, Ms. Traxler?
Commissioner Kyle,
Yes.
Commissioner Warnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Barr,
Yes,
Commissioner Zarnecki,
Yes.
Commissioner Farina.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We will go to agenda item number 4, my opening remarks. Tonight's meeting will follow the agenda that was posted online. It's important to let everyone know that the Planning Commission is created by state law. The commission is comprised of 7 members, all of whom have volunteered to serve. Members are appointed by the mayor and confirmed by City Council. When roll call is conducted this evening, the Open Meetings Act requires each member who is attending remotely to announce to where they are remotely connected to, which we have done. The role of the Planning Commission is to plan and promote the efficient, coordinated development of the city for the health, safety, and general welfare of its residents. We are not here to negotiate with applicants or allow everything an applicant is requesting. However, the Planning Commission does have the power to approve certain requests and recommend others, depending on the nature of the request and whether all the standards in the zoning ordinance have been met. The Planning Commission may also impose conditions on a proposed project in order to ensure that those standards are met. Other individuals here this evening are representatives from the legal firm of O'Reilly Rancilio PC and representatives from McKenna and Associates. We have no public hearing scheduled this evening, so I think we are all set to go to agenda item number 5, which is approval of the minutes November 4, 2020. Or is there any
I move to approve.
discussion? Okay,
I'll second.
all right. And the motion is to approve as presented. Is that correct, Commissioner Farina?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So it's been moved by Commissioner Farina and support by Commissioner Kyle to approve the minutes as written. Ms. Traxler, would you do a roll call, please?
Commissioner Farina,
Yes.
Commissioner Kyle,
Yes.
Commissioner Barr,
yes,
Commissioner Zarnecki,
Yes,
Commissioner Warnick.
Yes.
Motion carries.
thank you. Agenda item 6 is public hearings. We have none. We'll go to agenda item 7, new business, the approval of the 2021 Planning Commission meeting calendar. Has all the members kind of looked at the calendar? Have any discussion on any of the dates as proposed?
No.
None. Okay, I think there might be discussion on the July 7 date. It follows the 4th of July. July 4th, I believe, is on a Sunday. Is that correct? I don't have my calendar. I think July 4th is a Sunday. Yes,
That's
July
correct.
4th is a Sunday. So that Wednesday would be that meeting, that week of July 4th. Are there any concerns about that date?
No, I'm good.
Okay, if not, then I will entertain a motion to approve the dates as proposed.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2021 Planning Commission calendar as printed.
And
Second
support.
that.
Okay. All right, it's been moved by Commissioner Kyle and support by Commissioner Farina to approve the 2021 calendar as printed. Ms. Traxler, would you do a roll call, please?
Commissioner Kyle,
Yes.
Commissioner Farina,
Yes.
Commissioner Barr,
Yes.
Commissioner Zarnecki,
Yes,
Commissioner Warnick.
Yes.
Motion carries.
thank you. Agenda item 7, new business approval. I'm sorry, agenda item 8 is unfinished business, the City of Fraser Master Plan. Is that Ms. Traxler and Ms. Bouchard?
Yes, thank you, Chair Zarnecki. Both Danielle and I will be speaking tonight. I'm going to share my screen for tonight's presentation. Danielle will be running through the presentation and I'll be interjecting if I have any additional thoughts or comments, and then we'll discuss similar to last month. So let me just get this presentation up, and can everyone see that? I'm just looking at a thumbs up from it.
Yes, like it's, yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
great, perfect.
Yep.
Okay. So Miss Danielle, if you'd like to start us off, and then we'll do our discussion.
Yeah, thank you. And I guess I will also preface any questions or comments while we go through this. This is kind of an open discussion to kind of keep it casual. So feel free to stop me if you have any comments. We will be going through the newest draft version and just kind of discussing in a little bit further detail of the in particular, we'll go a little bit into a deeper dive into the content section and the Flex Corridor Overlay District. And then we'll finish it up with next steps. Sarah, did you have something to add?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. You were just going in and out a teeny bit. So maybe we'll see if it's working on this next slide. And if not, I can just pick it up.
Okay.
Like your internet just seemed a little off.
Okay.
Okay, thanks. Okay, is it my internet, or are you also seeing Danielle's kind of freezing?
She's kind of freezing a little bit, yes.
Okay. It might be best if I just take us through the presentation. So Danielle, you can be in that supportive role. If you see anything that I've missed speaking, please do speak up. Okay. So what we've done is prepared additional details to our content related to the Central Business District. You will recall that last month we ran through a substantial draft of the master plan, and based on the conversation that the planning commissioners had after our presentation, I think that there was pretty strong consensus that you would like to see a deeper dive into 2 specific areas, one of which is the Central Business District, and then the other, which Danielle mentioned, is the Flex Corridor, or your Groesbeck Highway Corridor. So first, what we'll do is run through the additional thinking that we've done on the CBD since our last meeting. As a reminder, in terms of future land use, we're proposing 2 different designations within the Central Business District. We've proposed that we focus that really downtown core feeling in the CBD core future land use designation, and then have a more transitional future land use designation in the CBD fringe. So that is a new future land use designation in our draft of the plan. So in this new draft that you've received in your packets, the section related to the CBD contains additional information related to existing conditions, analysis of physical conditions, and historical background on past planning that the city has done. Goals and objectives that are specific to that CBD core designation, as well as the fringe designation, so that there's a differentiation even in terms of sort of the supporting foundation for our action plan recommendations, which are centered around tactical beautification, which is certainly a good way of bringing about positive change in an area. And, that tactical moniker is sort of, the lighter, quicker, cheaper, rather than grand super projects related to capital improvements or something. Building and site design standards, we've beefed that section up. Information regarding setbacks and recommendations pertaining to that, parking, signage, transportation, and also marketing of the district. And then we've included existing character image as well as planned character images. And those planned character images are the city's desire, we believe. So, that's something that you can also comment on as you're reviewing the draft. So highlights of the existing conditions analysis, that there's actually a high volume road network through your central business district. Almost 20,000 vehicles per day on 14-mile road, 12.5 on Garfield, and 21, almost 22,000 on Utica Road. So, for streets through a downtown district or central business district, that's good traffic. And that's not necessarily a bad thing for a downtown, because of course we want, eyes on the street and visitors to your district. Your roads are largely the jurisdiction of Macomb County. Any projects that we call out will require collaboration among road agencies. Per SEMCOG data, and Danielle, do you remember what the date of that data was by any chance?
No, it wasn't listed on there. I'm sure I can find out further if the Planning Commission deems that. And I will also note too that the data that is on this slide all comes from.
This all comes from SEMCOG is what she was trying to say. So, oh, sure, yes.
The ones in red are supposedly vacant, right?
Yeah, but what I was going to say is that, this is data from the regional planning agency that we want to further verify. That's why I was asking the year of it. So we'll dig deeper into this. If there's anything that off the top of your head that isn't vacant, we can
The one on
verify.
14-mile road between Utica and Garfield,
Mhm.
that seems to be where El Charro's is.
Mm,
And I don't.
It's not vacant parcels, that's parking lot.
Oh,
okay.
sorry.
Yeah, to the
Okay,
west
got
of
it.
El Charro. Yeah.
Okay.
You know what? And actually, remember one of my first, sorry, we don't need to go down this road, but I remember one of my first site plans with Fraser was when El Charro expanded and we asked them to combine all those parcels, remember? So
Right.
Yeah.
I guess
okay.
that's something we can go back and look into, because if they haven't, then they should. So we will verify this information. I think Commissioner Barr had something to say.
There used to be houses there, and they bought out the business, and they bought out the houses on each side of them and tore them all down for their own, parking and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, so that's good to know that parking lots are included in this. So it's probably, if a parking lot hasn't been combined with its neighboring parcel, it's showing as vacant because there's no improved structures on that parcel. So that makes a lot of sense in terms of the kind of source and their methods of determining vacancy.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
I went through it and months ago, 6-7 months ago, I brought up, as a possibility to make Klein part of the downtown between Garfield and Utica. Now there is some houses there,
Mm-hmm.
but I see that orange box there is an open lot too. And it could definitely be a start of that. I know downtown Utica, I go down there quite a bit for business, but they have a nice little setting area, and that orange box you see there is right at the back of the parking lot for shots.
Yeah, right.
And I think that would be a great start for a nice little setting area.
So I think and Danielle can correct me if I'm wrong, but I actually think that orange, that vacant parcel next to Shots on the northern edge of this image is included in the CBD. It might be the fringe, if not the core. But I think it is part of the CBD future land use.
Yeah, I
And
believe that's correct.
so we can also go back to the future land use map as well to verify. But I think, Commissioner Kyle, that's something that Commissioner Warreneck has brought up recently to me as well, actually last month when he was in City Hall picking up his packet, just like kind of wanting to look at this northern area a little
Well,
bit more
when you're
too.
downtown there's, really no places for people to sit and things like that. And I just think that would be, a perfect area for people to gather.
If I may, that actually was the part that when the former planner put together a walkthrough thing, and that whole area did go to Klein, and that area right there where you see the box, he had designed as a fountain area with sitting around and sidewalks going to businesses or
Yeah.
whatever going in each direction. That's why we had talked about going all the way to Klein with that area there. And
Yep.
it would have made a nice walking area on a setting where people could sit down. There's really nothing walking wise in the downtown for
Mhm.
people to walk and gather. The only thing sitting outside is El Charles has a seating area for eating. But other than that, there's really nothing to bring a walking traffic through
Right.
and a relaxing area except the park, and it's really not the same.
No,
So
no. And I think an important thing is to kind of have, some type of seating or relaxation area or, destination that doesn't require you to go into a private business or setting on each of these four corners. I think that should be something that we're working towards. Here you can see in our future land use that we should look again. I don't think that this has changed. That vacant land that we were just talking about is actually shown as public, semi-public. So I think that we were picking up on the prior future land use map. So for some reason, rather than downtown, it was shown public, semi-public, which it might have been thusly designated to be a park, consistent with what you were
no,
just
it's owned. I know
describing.
the owner of that parcel, and
Mhm.
it's definitely not public.
Mhm.
It's a private parcel.
Yeah, so we'll specifically look at that one. I do think that what I will leave you with on this topic is the consideration of whether we want, to be kind of up planning those residences to downtown along Klein, or if it's, something that we would like to remain or keep them as single family residential as they're shown on the map right now. So kind of on the eastern or southern side of Klein next to the I place, the parking lot expansion that we just did, and then marching up Klein. Should those not be changed from single family residential?
Sarah, the previous slide, the red is supposedly parking lot.
Nope. These are vacant sites within the CBD according to SEMCOG data. So this is, something that we will verify, and it's just sort of to kind of show where there's development opportunity in addition to infill
Okay.
development on non-vacant sites within the
Okay.
CBD.
Yeah, that really needs to, because I'm looking at it, if can't, I thought you said it was parking lot, but
Well,
it can't
the
be.
El Charo one is.
Well, then across the street before where the market is, that should,
I think these are parcels without a building on them within this area.
got it. Okay.
So, whether or not we think that these are appropriate to call out as, the prime development spots in the CBD is, is not what we're getting into. It's just one existing condition source
Got
that
it.
we found.
I
Thank
think
you.
some of the info is just wrong. You look at that corner of Park Lane and Utica, that's actually a pet funeral home right on that
Right.
corner.
Oh, here.
Yeah.
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 Mhm. Again, I think that these must be parcels that weren't combined with the principal parcel on which a building sat. So when the city reports to SEMCOG, they are saying that there may not be a building on it or something. I mean, because look, there's a teeny tiny building right next to it. So we'll do better. I don't want to get us too focused on, just this one tiny existing condition map. So Commissioner Barr had her hand raised.
Well, the big lot next door to me,
Mhm.
actually, there's 4 lots. There are 4 lots, and then the big white house on Park Lane behind me. That's
Yeah.
all owned by the El Charo family.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great.
So I mean, it's not, they deliberately bought that and they had plans for it. So I don't know what their plans are now, but I'm
Mhm.
saying it's not just vacant. It's been purchased for purposes.
Yeah. So one of the reasons that we like to look at vacant land and just, kind of understand the conditions on the ground is to say, where could new development go? Now, it's hard to separate, especially, as residents and involved residents, your kind of understanding of what the specific ownership scenarios are at today, at this moment today, from the remembrance that we're planning for 10, 15, 20 years into the future, when those owners may not be interested in holding on to their properties any longer, that things have a tendency to change over time. So when we say that there's underutilized property within the downtown area, that can be true while we're also aware of the fact that a certain stakeholder owns it and isn't interested in selling or developing it right now. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't be setting forth a plan for it for 15, 20 years down the road. So we will continue just to kind of hone in on development opportunities. Certainly there are even occupied parcels that are underutilized. The place across the street from City Hall and 14 Mile that Paul and I look out, Randy used to look out every day and see a sea of underutilized parking next to the smoke shop and the pizza shop and all of that. So whether it's vacant or not, we know that this is an area of great opportunity. So in terms of goals and objectives for the Central Business District, Danielle's drafted them into kind of 4 overarching themes or groups. The first of which is to coordinate. Right off the bat, we think it is wise and appropriate to reorganize, reinstate, and kind of re-energize the Downtown Development Authority, develop a DDA and TIF plan, and get that capture underway. That is a dedicated source of funding to bring about the goals, objectives, and actions that are recommended by this master plan. And it is the most tried and true method of downtown funding in the state of Michigan. And it's been working successfully for communities similar to Fraser since its inception in 1975. In addition to, organizing and funding the DDA, we're recommending, that the city continue working on partnerships with the local business owners. The DDA is a great way to do that. If that doesn't end up happening, there are other forms of those partnerships could take place, and state agencies for economic development opportunities. So when we write out the implementation chapter, there will be specific steps that we are saying how these things would come about. Enhance, we think that strengthening the zoning standards within the CBD are appropriate. You have design guidelines, to a certain extent in that district. And we know that the uses are, trying to be less auto-oriented than in other districts, but we, have identified additional ways that, the zoning could be strengthened. Determining the road network enhancements are needed to ensure that the CBD is accessible and enjoyable by legal users of the road, like pedestrians and bicyclists and people of all abilities. And then encouraging a mixture of uses, green space or gathering space, like you guys were talking about with, whether it's a fountain or a small sprayscape, like you see in other communities. There's a lot of different options there, but obviously, we need to activate and keep on working at activating that area. So ways that we think that activation would take place are through public art displays, landscaping in the sidewalks and streetscapes, functional green space that's programmed, not necessarily a gazebo that's just kind of plunked in the middle of something that doesn't really get used and isn't, enjoyable for many. We've included images that show how buildings should be articulated and designed, saying, do this, and giving very specific examples. We've contained building and site design standards for layout, location, and proportion of buildings, and then started designating what we think the setbacks would be once the zoning is implemented, starting to say that there should be 0 to 3 foot front yard setbacks from the front yard sidewalk, 0 side yards allowed, so buildings right up next to each other, and think that 3 stories is an appropriate height within the CBD in Fraser. In terms of parking, we're looking at utilizing shared parking agreements and reducing and eliminating parking minimums in the CBD. You do have flexible standards in your parking ordinance, and maybe the CBD is where we take it in even more of a liberal direction. Prohibit front yard parking lots, consider outdoor dining and curbside pickup. Actually showing where those things would take place would be fabulous exercises. Developing signage standards to make sure that signage is coordinated and cohesive. And then starting to talk about traffic calming measures, bike lanes or paved shoulders, sidewalk widening for more pedestrian movement, and bike racks and multimodal crossings. Those would be the capital improvements related to how folks move within and without the district that we're recommending. So, obviously this is a summary of the content, and we will keep reviewing and spelling out implementation measures. I think, that the assignments that we've heard so far based on conversation are to, maybe drill down further in terms of accuracy and also the breadth of an understanding of development or redevelopment opportunity sites, or even portions of parcels or sites within the downtown. And then also taking another look at the, do we say the south side of Klein, or do you say the east side? The bottom. Okay, the bottom side of the south side of Klein, and figuring out what your pleasure is in terms of those single family homes, and if we want to designate them as CBD core or fringe. I think that that's something that we could take a look at. Of course, changing it in the master plan doesn't make the use of the land non-conforming right now. So, it's not that we're rezoning that property. So it's not, as radical as just outright initiating rezonings. Is there anything else that we should be thinking about for now as we continue reviewing and editing and proofing and working through items?
You mentioned that there are no really spots to go for sitting, and couldn't we look at, we have that big hunk of park behind the city hall, at developing something in that area to,
Definitely.
for that purpose.
Yeah, and I think that what that does is a handful of things. First, that section is accessible to a number of neighborhoods on foot, by foot. So you have kind of natural customers, people who would be walking, I guess, at least, Anita and Josephine, and then across Garfield as well. It's, easily within walking distance without crossing, too many major streets. Second of all, the city owns that property, so that removes a barrier and legal consideration and ownership, or even payment for use of that property consideration. So it definitely is a little bit more low-hanging fruit than trying to get improvements, in the right of way owned by the county or on someone else's property, and figuring out an arrangement or a partnership to do that. So I think that would be a nice start. My only, consideration, I guess, that I might put in the cons bucket is that it's not quite as proximate to, the shops and the restaurants and the places where people are going to kind of fulfill, non-civic or non-home life type of needs or desires. So I would say that we would want to follow up any improvements on the park site by getting something across 14 Mile, and closer to shots and those areas for sure.
Okay.
Especially if you have like ice cream places, coffee, donuts, people want to eat it right there or outside and gather more than to walk all the way to the park with it. And
That's true.
it's not the same.
Or both. I mean, certainly these days you're kind of thinking, which way am I going to go? Am I going to turn right out of my house or left out of my house? So, I think this year is a good one to remind us that people are interested in, kind of taking those trips on foot and figuring out and exploring new things about their communities. So we just need to give them places to go that don't involve necessarily the automobile, or they drive and they park once and then they walk around the district. This, I think, is a good place to give you all some exciting news, which is that early Monday morning, the interim city manager sent me an email and said that he had been reviewing the draft master plan and that he wanted us to suggest to the Planning Commission that as the City Council starts working through its budget, that you might have some ideas or proposals for capital improvements to place in the capital improvement plan. So, of course, I told him that I would like to just work with him in terms of facilitating that process and making sure that we're not going too far off center in those requests. But I think for next month's meeting or next time we meet, I will have something more concrete, I guess pun intended, in terms of what that request or requests might look like for council to consider in terms of putting some type of master plan recommended capital improvement into next year's budget. So I think that is, kind of a nice thing to be thinking about in terms of even the idea that Commissioner Farina just had. Seating areas on public property are most certainly, I think, something that we could very easily say would be a smart recommendation at this juncture. So there will be more coming on that. Okay, so in regards to the flex corridor, every time I look at Danielle, she's not frozen, but then whenever she says something, it's time. So in terms of the flex corridor, as a reminder, this is a corridor area. It's a new future land use designation that we're calling an overlay and think that the appropriate zoning tool would be in overlay district once we're implementing the master plan. And this spans the entire length of Groesbeck in Fraser. So the new sub area or corridor area content that was developed since our last meeting was in existing conditions and background, goals and objectives specific to the corridor segment, and then recommendations to the exact same categories of concern as we saw in the central business district. I think with just one important addition here, which is access management. So, figuring out, how all these curb cuts on Groesbeck and all of the traffic is dealt with, and if there's a more coordinated approach that we can take. And just as a reminder, I think everyone on the line was at last month's meeting, but this, I think, was sort of inspired by everyone's interest in the Clinton Township Groesbeck Highway design guidelines and saying, hey, we want those too. So this new section of the plan is somewhat based on the same principles as that. So Groesbeck Highway has an average daily traffic of 43,000 vehicles per day. So that's a very healthy regional corridor, in case you all didn't already know that. Our overlay district includes 2 high priority safety intersections, meaning I think dangerous intersections. One of which is Groesbeck and Utica Road, where there's 42 crashes per year. And this is probably from, I would say, 2018 or 2019. It's probably listed in the plan. If not, we'll add that. In Groesbeck and 15 Mile Road, which has just 1 more crash per year, 43 crashes per year.
Groesbeck and 15 is Clinton Township.
Aren't
That's
you?
true.
14, Groesbeck and 14 it would be.
Right. 15 is where Lowe's is, and that's in Clinton Township.
Oh, yeah. Okay, thank you. So we'll double check if that was supposed to be 14 or if we just pulled extra. We just want to lump you in there.
I believe that may have.
Sorry, Danielle, you froze again, but we'll
Can hold
clarify.
up signs maybe.
Don't worry, everyone, she's safe. She's just staying with her in-laws because her and her husband bought a new house. So I'm just gonna solve the internet mystery. I think they have the same service provider as Commissioner Barr. So the SEMCOG data, which is the same data that we pulled for the CBD area, includes 5 vacant industrial developments or parcels in that area, and then 2 vacant commercial parcels. So again, that might be places where it's adjacent to an operating occupied business, but the separate tax parcel is parking. So we'll look into that as well. As you're aware, it's characterized by aging commercial and industrial development with large underutilized front yard parking lots. In addition, I would say, that there have been, some high profile outlot developments and kind of, I would say, more modern developments, especially around Utica and Groesbeck intersection. So you can kind of see where the market is trying to take us on Groesbeck when the opportunity is there. You see what is happening at Oak Ridge, and then even the gas station in Jimmy John's, and I think there's a check cashing place there or something on the southwest corner. I think are a little bit more newly developed, certainly within the last 8 years or something. I know the gas station is before 2017, but probably not by that many years. It's largely fitted with sidewalks on both sides of the street, which is notable when you compare the Fraser corridor to Roseville's by comparison. When I'm coming to town, I do take 696, and there is, you can tell when you've arrived in Fraser because you do have sidewalks, and most of the Roseville corridor does not. There is a lack of bike infrastructure and connection, and so we can kind of, start having interventions in that regard in as much as we can. Of course, Groesbeck Highway is an NDOT road. These are the goals and objectives that we put together: preserve by establishing partners with the existing business owners, trying to support the longevity of existing businesses. I think the city is very supportive of your industrial users and want to make sure that they are able to provide jobs for residents and neighboring residents for many decades to come. Strengthening the beautification standards, so that's where those design guidelines come in place. High quality and durable building and site design standards. Again, we want a new owner, new occupant to be able to come in and not have to make too many changes each time something turns over. We're calling for encouraging sustainability with all development and redevelopment projects, whether it's LEED or low impact design and development standards. I think that we can start talking about flexible or lean ways of doing that. Collaboration, this is where getting together with your neighbors would be appropriate. We could even suggest that a corridor improvement authority be established for Groesbeck Highway with Clinton Township and Roseville, from 696 to however far north you wanted to go. Establish economic development partnerships and programs. I think the county is a natural partner of yours here, and encouraging shared and flexible properties and workspaces. So ADA compliance is a very basic and important component of the building and site design standards we're talking about here. Continuing to require pedestrian facilities in a coordinated fashion. Welcoming entryways and overall design where you can think to yourself, hey, that's a nice looking industrial building. I like the way that they did that. That's creative or clever or pleasing. Construction from durable materials like brick, stone, and aluminum siding. Landscaping standards, having perimeter buffer areas where parcels, especially on the east side, south side, where it's adjacent to not the railroad as is on the other side, making sure that we have appropriate buffering from the neighboring property uses. Street trees and native plantings, the corridor could be very much beautified through that. And really paying attention to the landscape plans when site plans come in. Having parking in the rear of buildings. You can see, again, in Roseville, as those industrial properties are turning over, they're eliminating parking in front. There's one right now that's on the east side of Groesbeck that's been under construction, I think the last month or two, that I think you would all be interested in seeing kind of how that's changing. So I think a nice looking model for how other sites along Groesbeck could improve over time. And I think it's probably just south of, well, I can follow up with you to let you know where it is. Next time I come to town, I'll double check. With the access management, we want to minimize the number of driveways, as we've mentioned, talk about coordinated access, and closely examine the placement for the new development to make sure that we're doing what we can to minimize the traffic congestion. And then pay attention to signage and lighting. You'd be shocked at how many giant hot air balloon applications Paul and I have denied for businesses along Groesbeck. They want their opening soon, giant hot air balloons right next to each other. Two on one building even. So even, I joke about temporary signage, but there's a lot out there that is visually cluttering that corridor that we can definitely freshen up and pay attention to. So those are the new chapters that we included specific to the requests that were given last month. I guess I can really quick talk about our options for next steps because I think it might inform the discussion and kind of where you want us to focus our attention over the coming weeks. So in the memo that was in your packet, and then also, similar to what we presented last month, there was definitely an eagerness by the Planning Commission to keep the momentum going, keep working, in haste and in earnest, while also, giving it time and appropriate amount of attention. We had preliminarily said in December that you might consider recommending the plan to City Council to distribute it per the Planning Enabling Act requirements. I think we would definitely want to have at least one more meeting before we do that. Whether it's the special meeting in December or at your regular January meeting, we'll definitely, leave that up to you. Again, that's kind of the next step once you have a complete draft master plan. Danielle and I need to spend some time still fleshing out the implementation chapter. As I had mentioned last month, that's kind of the last thing we do, and it's the last section of the plan. And that's like the specific steps and roadmap with partnerships and timeline and priority in terms of what the city needs to do in order to make these things that we're calling for actually come to fruition. So we're suggesting at least one more meeting with this draft material. So in January or February, hopefully the City Council, upon your recommendation, would receive the presentation of the draft plan, because they are required to be the entity who distributes the plan per the state law requirements. And that's a 63-day review period or comment period. So just the same thing that you were asked to review Clinton Township, or given the opportunity to review Clinton Township, we'll be sending it out to all of your neighbors and the other required entities. Once that 63-day period ends, the Planning Commission would consider any comments you received and conduct your public hearing, at which time, even in the same meeting, you're allowed to adopt your master plan, same meeting as the public hearing. So does anyone have any questions or suggestions for follow-up?
I've got some suggestions and comments.
Great.
This is just phenomenal, the change from last month's draft to this. And I didn't even see it until this weekend, because your email I didn't see.
Oh no.
I ended up getting in with Paul's or something.
Okay.
And so I finally just got a chance to go through, and I said, wow, it's looking great. This thing is going to be like a masterpiece. And I just think put off the council thing, because they're going to start looking at this one, what you got, and that these pictures aren't even Fraser. Let's take time, make sure, because another couple months, I just like the direction you're going in, and it's going to be a phenomenal piece. But if you put it in their lap, they don't have the experience we've had with just going through this process. They're going to see it. They're going to start picking it apart with the pictures. Well, these aren't pictures of our city even. We need to change all this. I think get it more fine-tuned, and then put it in front of them. And I think they're just going to be so impressed. Why give them anything that they can pick apart?
Yep, and that's something I had forgotten to put in the transmittal. We were rushing with our graphic designer to get things in place. And so I think Danielle had mentioned and encouraged me to share with you all that our graphic designer told us that some of the pictures were in the wrong place where they were supposed to be Fraser pictures. And then the planned or desired character pictures got plugged into the Fraser, the wrong places. So that was something we were definitely aware of. But Randy, your point is very well taken in terms of kind of the level of polish that we want. We want it to be complete, accurate, and perfect in terms of it perfectly representing what your best and greatest ideas are for the city. So I'm with you in terms of that, but we can make things happen quickly. We're kind of getting to the point now where we would shift into like that proofing mode, kind of rather than totally concentrating on ideas in writing. So, you know, we're pretty close to moving into that next phase, but based on your direction.
If I'm not mistaken, last meeting we were talking about shooting January, so council could look at it before they started on their budget meetings. Is that not true?
That's true.
I mean, I wouldn't have a problem if everybody else is game to having a second meeting in December. And I have a lot of confidence in you, Sarah. If you're saying that you guys can get the pictures and everything done in the next couple weeks, I believe you.
Yeah, definitely. We can focus on the implementation, focus on buttoning up kind of those existing conditions, things that we talked about tonight. Focus on the formatting and making sure, you know, that everything is in its right place with the photographs, and then any other comments, and you know, and the proofing and any other comments folks had.
Well, that would give you additional time for any changes. You don't shut down between Christmas and New Year's, do you?
It just depends on like the person. Our office isn't closed. We don't, shutdown isn't really a phrase that we're familiar with. Yeah. So, for example, I mean, we would just have to, it would be helpful actually, I think, to keep working in haste over the next couple of weeks so that we're not running into any vacation with our graphic designers probably in between and getting ready for your January meeting. I don't know if that makes sense. We can make things work though. So
I agree with Commissioner Warnick that we want a perfect product before we present it to City Council. So I think we need some more time, but you know, the faster you can work, the better you know it is. Were we not supposed to kind of coordinate some individual people to have small subcommittees for this? Has that happened, Sarah?
yeah. So one thing that we have a little bit run up against is we were talking about doing it at City Hall, and it's not closed. I think in my last email, I just said like, if anyone wants to hop on a Zoom, you know, we could just like do small groups or something. Of course, I can, you know, we can do it safe, but the old standing around a map thing of yesteryear, it's not, you know, like that, you know, it's not what it means today, I guess. So I would love to set those up, and if anyone is interested, you know, if you just know you're interested right now, I can email first thing tomorrow morning and we can figure that out.
So from your previous email, you got no responses. Is that correct then?
That's right.
Okay. Okay.
You know what tends to happen, I think it's human nature, is that you know, there's kind of a, oh yeah, this looks good. And people are sort of, you know, looking at it like first at 20,000 feet and then 10,000 and then 5,000. And over the next couple meetings is where, you know, you all are going to really be honing in on things and finding like that really fine grained detail. So it is perfect timing for us to, you know, be doing that tightening up and buttoning up, because we'll all be in that same mode together. Now, you know, there'll also be things, there'll be things that will change even after you recommend distribution. You know, I would say, you know, the distribution draft, or the draft that you're recommending to council is rarely like the exact, it's never the exact same document that ends up getting adopted. But what we really want to make sure that we feel strongly about is that the future land use map is right. So if I could, you know, encourage folks to pay attention to any one thing, I would say, you know, kind of do some specific looking at the map. Think about your neighborhood, think about your favorite spots in town, the places that you drive by. Think about your neighbors or friends or church or whatever, and just kind of check out parcels here and there and let us know if you have any questions about, you know, why we had a certain designation on a certain parcel of land.
I have a quick question then, Sarah. And I'm not a graphic person, but I know when I went through the plan, the color yellow, I believe, is for the Fraser tomorrow. And then when you went through the following pages, that yellow on the side was very hard to see. And I don't know if it
agree.
was just from my PC or is that a good
No.
color to go with?
No, and it won't be the final color because
Okay.
when our graphic designer sent it over, I agreed, but she was already off for the holiday the next day. So
Okay.
we'll just darken it so that it shows up, and we'll have to change that if it even doesn't show up properly. We
Okay.
also like make sure we print to black and white just to make sure if someone's printing from black and white that it would show up. And yellow is a hard one to
Mhm.
actually capture on black and white.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
we will follow up on that.
And I'm okay with another meeting this month too. I don't know how the other members feel, besides Mr. Farina said, or
I'm
Mr. Warnick was okay with it.
I'm good with it too.
So that would
Okay.
be that would be December 14th, which is a Monday. If we went with your normal additional meeting convention. I know I don't have a conflict, so in terms of the McKenna team, if anyone else does have a conflict, I can.
I'm gonna
I
check
can do
my,
that.
go check my phone where my calendar is. I'll be right
Okay.
back.
Is that a Monday?
That's
Or-
right.
Yeah.
So based on us kind of working quickly and turning, another draft around in less than 2 weeks, I think realistically, we would shoot to get you something next Thursday, December 10th. So that would give you the weekend to look at it. If it's a smaller amount of time than you normally have with your packets, but if you're okay with that, just because of the quick turnaround, I think that would be helpful.
That would be the only thing on the agenda, correct?
That's right. Do you think Clark is talking to us?
I don't know.
If it's at 7 o'clock at night, I don't have a problem.
So Commissioner Farina, you're okay? Commissioner Kyle, are you okay with that date?
Yep, I'm good.
Okay, I'm okay with it. Commissioner Barr, are you okay with that date?
Yes, I'm okay.
And Commissioner Randy Warnick, you
Yeah.
okay?
I'm okay with that.
All right, and then we can reach out to Commissioner Cook and Commissioner Perry. You're okay with that, Sarah? Danielle, are you okay with that date? And then maybe have to check with Mr. Andrews. Are you there, Mr. Andrews?
I think he's got his mic shut off.
My only question was whether there was enough time from the time that we got the revised draft to go, if this is our shot at being able to really do a good thorough proofreading of it. If we get it next, whatever it was, next Thursday, and the meeting is that next Monday, if we're reviewing the entire master plan, that's a lot of proofreading to do in 2 days or 3 days or whatever it is. That's my only comment. Or if we're gonna have more time to proofread, then I don't have. I mean, I'm fine with the meeting date. That's great. I just want to make sure that I agree with Randy and the chair that getting a rock solid draft to council is really important. I mean, I think that if there are omissions or or things that we should have caught or whatever that we didn't. I'm sure there'll be a few of those, but you don't want too many of those. And while we're anxious to get this thing done, I want to make sure that it reflects well on all of us, you know.
Mhm.
Through the chair, if I may, I am envisioning that you'll probably be discussing it for 2 more meetings realistically.
Okay.
So I think,
Then I'm not worried about that then.
yeah, I don't anticipate that you would feel, that it was timely or appropriate yet to pass it on. So
Okay.
I think what the value of the next meeting in December is one that we will present the implementation section, that last, piece of the puzzle, and 2, maybe we could ask that folks get through, the first half of it. And then for the January meeting that folks, focus on the second half or something like that, to break it up into parts.
Okay.
And then that way it's not the January meeting and then the February meeting, for example, that you're taking those 2 meetings. It's just sort of expediting the 2 meetings.
Okay.
Great. Well, thank you all very much. And actually, I think tomorrow, Paul and I can coordinate. We will circle the wagons and send out an email to our planning commission list saying that you all decided tonight to hold that special meeting. So the commissioners who aren't here tonight would know that it's coming up. They can put it on their calendars, and we'll let them know to keep their eyes peeled for the next draft.
Okay,
And
thank you, Ms. Rector.
I think we also have don't we have to publish publish that we're having an additional meeting?
Right.
It would just be subject to the open meetings, but there's not a public hearing notice required. So it's not like the newspaper publication or
Right.
anything.
Okay.
But it should be put on the, what do they call it? The roly-poly?
The cable.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do all the customary things, working with the city clerk's office.
Now, do you still want to have small groups that talk about sections of this?
That'd be great. If anyone is interested, let me know and we can.
I'll volunteer to do that.
Super.
I'll volunteer.
Me too.
Okay, so that's 3. So if anyone else wants to, we'll have to break into 2 sections.
That's a great group. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
It's a terrific group. Yes.
Okay.
Ms. Traxler, do we have anybody in the waiting room wanting to comment on our master plan?
We do have a guest, and I know that he was specifically interested in the master plan discussion. Whether he wants to come in or not, we will see. Mr. Albus?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm James Albus. Did you unmute me?
Yes.
We can hear you.
Okay.
Yep.
I represent the owners of 33420 Utica Road. My dad unfortunately passed away. You have it in your future land use plan as a multiple family district. It was a single family home. We are in favor of your future land use plan, changing it over to a multiple family district. I'm very happy you guys are working on this. You're doing a very good job. I've gone through the process myself a couple of times. And yeah, your central business district, it's a very good plan for your business district. And hopefully it'll come to fruition fairly quickly because it does take a long time to change your downtowns. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Mr. Albus. Or is there any other discussion or comments on the master plan?
While Jim's there, I'd just like to give my condolences to the passing of your dad. He was a mainstay in the community for ages and a great guy. So my condolences.
Thank you, Randy.
And thank you, Danielle Bouchard, wherever you are. Thank you for your contribution. We wish we would have been able to hear your voice more often this evening in that presentation. We will.
Likewise.
Okay, thank you, Danielle. Agenda item 9 is public communications on non-agenda items. Is there anything for that item, Ms. Traxler?
Not that I'm aware of. Paul, did we receive anything to the zoning email?
We did not.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Erbril. Agenda item 10, zoning board of appeals member liaison report. Commissioner Farina.
Yes, we haven't had a meeting. We're going to have a meeting tomorrow night, and I think I mistakenly reported to you that we would have something to look at. I guess that has changed, Sarah. That did not get in on time, and what we'll be doing is we'll be recommending people whose terms have expired, either if they want to continue for extensions. The same thing we did at our last meeting of the Planning Commission. So
Okay,
that's about it. You know,
thank you, Commissioner Farina. So it's going to be a short meeting for you.
I think so.
Yeah. Agenda item 11, commissioners' comments and items of interest or concerns. First, let me see, is there anybody in the public now who would like to speak on that? None. I'm seeing Ms. Traxler saying no.
That's right. I don't see
Okay.
anyone.
All right. Commissioner Warnick, is there anything you'd like to share?
And I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas if we don't see anybody before January's meeting, but now we're going to have the December meeting, so we could do that next time.
That's right.
I have a question. It's always been a thing in my head with this CBD being central business district and community business district. And we should have one thing, because if you go through everything, you've got it listed as central business district now and a lot of stuff, but it still is listed as community business district and other things. It's just one of those things that I didn't know what to call it all the time, because sometimes you just see CBD and you think central business district. And so maybe we should just make that the official thing for this, so we don't have two different types when you're talking.
I think that's a
That's a
great
minor
point for
thing.
the zoning implementation, definitely. Yeah.
And that is it.
Thank you, Commissioner Warnick. Commissioner Barr, would you like to share anything?
No, since we're going to meet again, we'll tell everybody Merry Christmas at that point. I know this is a busy time for everybody, and I hope everyone is doing well preparing for our good holidays.
Thank you, Commissioner Barr. Commissioner Farina.
I just want to say it was kind of a toned down Thanksgiving. I hope it doesn't have to be that toned down for Christmas, but we're I'm sure the rest of you be safe. Use your heads on what you're doing, and you know, just be aware of what's going on and what we have to do to get through this next until the vaccines are out there. I also want to tell you that today is a day for universal celebration. It is the birthday of one of the best men I know in the whole world, and that's my son. He is a great father and a great adult, and I'm very proud to call him mine. So happy birthday, Michael. And
Happy birthday.
Birthday.
I wish all of you the very best, and stay safe.
Thank you, Commissioner Farina. Commissioner Kyle.
Yeah, I can, one thing, Sarah, I don't know if you do our website or not, but I went on there today to see about if we were going to have another 2 years or not.
Mhm.
I noticed that, I think Randy's been on for a year now and he still don't have his name on there. That's something maybe you can check on for us, Sarah?
We definitely can.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I can say Ms. Traxler has been working very well with the administration, getting our agendas on the website and still
She does
working on
great.
our minutes, but we're going to get there.
She
Thank
does
you very
okay.
much for your assistance, Sarah.
Thanks for looking out for me there, John.
And all three of the gentlemen who were up for reappointment did get reappointed by City Council. So congratulations.
I was just going to wait, Randy, because you know, by the time they put it up, your 2 years are going to be up.
Mr. Andrews, would you like to share anything?
I would like to echo Mr. Farina's comments, and I'd also like to commend the McKenna team on how much they got accomplished between the last meeting and this meeting in terms of the master plan update. I was struck just as Randy was by wow, and I think that if we can proofread it real well and finish fine tuning, that it's going to be something that the city council is going to be very proud to receive.
Kudos on that, I agree. Miss Albright, are you there? Would you like to share anything?
I have no items of concern or anything like that. I just hope that everyone stays safe, and we'll see everyone in about a week and a half or so.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Church, are you there? Would you like to share anything?
Nope, nothing to share. Look forward to being able to attend in just a little bit, and yeah, we'll wish everybody a happy holidays then.
He's being very modest. He passed the bar and got sworn in between the last meeting.
Whoa, big deal.
Whoa,
Yo.
that's right.
All right.
Congratulations.
That's a big deal in any new lawyer's life or any lawyer's life, truthfully. And we're very proud of him.
Yeah.
And happy to have him with us.
You're not supposed to pass those bars. You're supposed to go into them.
Hey,
Can't do that these days.
We will all do
Good
that
boy.
going down the line. Give us
Yes.
a few months and we'll all do that. Ms. Bouchard, if you don't freeze up, would you like to share anything with us?
Nope, nothing at this time. Just looking forward.
She froze.
I think we should get Danielle a new internet connection.
And Mr. Erbil, are you there? Would you like to share anything?
I have nothing further. Thank you, Sharon.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Traxler, you have anything to share?
I do just want to commend Danielle. I think that she can hear us, which is great, but she's been just doing such a great job with the output on the master plan and really, being the thought leader and making sure that things are followed through on. So we're just so happy to have her working on this, and we just want to give credit where credit is due. So that's
I think you guys do a fantastic job on it. It's amazing.
It is a super job, and thank you, Danielle, and congratulations on a new house whenever you get to move into it.
Yeah.
I just have one item of concern, and just to bring it up, and maybe Ms. Traxler or Mr. Erbil can tell us where we might be with the marijuana, only because, the city of Warren has been in the news quite, lately. So I don't want to lose track of that. So I think we better follow through on that. If you can give us an update on that whenever. Okay.
Sure. Yeah. Actually, maybe Clark, I can't remember if you've totally been in the loop and we're working, with Don on a lot of the questions.
I have not, but I will find out from Don where we are on that, and I will let you guys know it on December 14th.
Great.
Thank you, Mr. Andrews.
I know I can say that we don't feel that the city is in a vulnerable position. That is just something that we can definitely strongly assert right now.
Okay.
And then Clark can share follow-up info.
So that should be put on the agenda, shouldn't it, under new business?
Yes, most certainly. Would you like that in December or at the January meeting? Does it matter?
I think January, December, I think we should spend the next meeting on.
Okay.
And
Yep, I would agree with that. So, yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other discussion or comments? And if not, I will adjourn the meeting.
I move.
Okay. In support?
I'll support.
Okay, so it's been moved by Commissioner Farina, support by Commissioner Kyle to adjourn the meeting. Can we do a roll call? I guess do a roll call, Ms. Traxler.
Commissioner Farina.
Aye.
Commissioner Kyle.
Yes.
Commissioner Barr.
Yes, I agree.
Chair Zarnecki.
Yes.
Commissioner Warnick.
I'm out. Yeah.
Okay. Motion carries.
Okay, the meeting has been adjourned. It is 8:19 p.m. Stay safe. We'll see you in a few days.
See
Everybody have a
everyone
great night.
soon. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.